Okay, I just finished reading Healthy Aging by Andrew Weil, medical director, and I took some notes about certain topics that I found more interesting than others in the book. Now, I respect Dr. Andrew Weil and his ideas. I read another book about it's called Spontaneous Happiness, and it pretty much came down to having fish oil and getting exercise. Well, in this book, he comes down to two basic ideas again, and he does it right in the first 20 pages or so of the book. For healthy aging, he pretty much admits nobody lives forever. There's no fountain of youth. Everything degrades as we age. But you can help prevent that, of course, through exercise and social activity. That's on page 31. I said 20 pages. It's fast reading, though. Exercise and social activities. That's what scientists have found to be the most helpful. There really isn't any specific drug or herb or anything like that that you could do to extend your life. It seems to come down to exercise and social activity. And then there's, after that, I mean, he wrote a whole book. He could have just said, old age, you can live to old age by exercising and having good social connections, but he also goes on to mention the more minor things that'll help. But I mean, there's still the big idea of exercise and social activity. So, further in the book, he talks about people who are more affluent and educated tend to be willing to pay for more tests outside of what the insurance will cover. I thought that was interesting. So there's an advantage for professional health people to deal with the educated more, because educated are going to worry. They're going to be worried more about their health. Life in New York is tougher for wine, and he's talking about the harsh climates, and that toughens up the grape, and it might bring out more resveratrol under stress. If you put grapes under more climate stress, they'll produce a better, healthier grape. So there's that, possibly with dehydration and then the temperatures. Latter category on 78. And this book was written, I think, in 2008 or so. Oh, yes, that's the defenses. Okay, against oxidative stress. These do not help you fight oxidative stress. Betel, quat, opium, oat coca, coffee, tea, chocolate, kava, and marijuana. Oxidative stress is good for fighting germs, okay? There's a balance. People will talk about you need antioxidants to live a long, healthy life, but that's not exactly true, because germs can take you over and kill you too, on the other hand. If you have perfectly antioxidant diet, it's not exactly balancing you out. Sometimes you need that oxidative stress to kill other germs. Violins get better as they age, apparently. That's Dr. Weil's not his report, but I saw a video that said that people in like surveys said they thought the newer ones sounded better. So I don't know. Aspirin it helps prevent the breakdown of a particular fat to help with aging. My grandma in her 80s. I'm not sure if she's still alive. I haven't talked to her in a while. But she's been having aspirin every day. I know a 90-year-old man. He's dead now. But he was consuming half an aspirin a day. showed that aspirin and related anti-inflammatory drugs worked by inhibiting enzymes that convert arachidonic acid. But I mean, you got willow bark. I would not consume the extract of willow bark. I'd consume willow bark, but not the extract of it. I think that's going a little too extreme. Hydrogenation, of course, is always bad for the food. Emulsification, the hardening of fat, is a bad idea. You do not want to consume that. That'll cause inflammation, particularly in the heart. I've felt it. I'm getting more sensitive to it, I guess. And where I tend to find it is in peanut butter, one of the foods I really love to consume. But of course, they hydrogenate fats in a lot of anything with fat. It's possible, but it's most likely going to be in a jar that they'll do that. Glycation checks for diabetes is supposed to be a good way to check diabetes, but once again, I've mentioned it in a previous video, I think the best way is just look at your body. Simple complex carbs. I grew up with the idea that simple carbs and complex carbs was a real viable way to address which carbs are healthy or not. And he's saying that's obsolete, and we should be informed about glycemic index and glycemic load. Ignore the obsolete information that classifies carbohydrates as simple and complex. But for me, it's either carbohydrates or sugar extracts. That's how I classify carbohydrates myself. But he's saying look at the glycemic load. I think that's a little complicated, the glycemic load. I think the extracts would be a better way to separate carbs from sugar. Diet color. I love this idea. I'm glad he brought it up. Looking at the color of your foods will tell you what you can expect from the kind of health you get from it. Now, I don't think they talk about it in the way I do, but you want a rainbow of colors. But you look at Chinese medicine, and this is from a Dr. David Herber, Center of Studies of Human Nutrition at the University of California. What color is your diet? He wrote a book on that. But in Chinese face reading, red corresponds with the heart, black corresponds with the kidneys, green corresponds with the liver. I mean, he's saying you should have a rainbow of colors, but I don't know if he goes into the Chinese medicine type of thinking. Turmeric tea, that sounds interesting. Something to look into. There's multivitamin rules to follow. Okay, you want to not have iron in it, especially. That jumped out at me. That's why I marked it, because I'm like, this guy's onto something. You don't want iron in your multivitamins. I was eating Centrum in my 20s, and I was getting stomach pains, and I believe it's iron causing my problems. Good mixture of carotenoid should provide vitamin E, mixed natural tocopherols. Vitamin C shouldn't have more than 200 milligrams. Okay, no iron, unless you're a menstruating woman. It might hurt your stomach. Should have no more than 200 micrograms of selenium. So, yeah, he's got rules for vitamins to follow. Something to look into. ALS tends to be found in athletes because they work out so hard and then reduce their fat that their nerves become more vulnerable to disease. So ALS is more found in athletes. I found it interesting in his spontaneous happiness when he said that black people are more likely to get that brain disorder. Gosh, I was trying to think of it. I'll have to think of, maybe I'll put it in the description. Cities in America tend not to be walk friendly, obviously, clearly. And legally, we have a right to be on the road, but they are terrible to walk on with all the traffic. It's a rat race in some places, especially Boise, Idaho. Alright, now he uses copper to clean his pool, he does not use chlorine, and he says people are hesitant about that idea. Amazing. You know, before the gold rush, before people extracted copper out of the rivers and everywhere, I mean, the forests were especially clean with that mineral, with copper, silver, aluminum, gold. He's using those materials. I mean, we're transferring it out of the forest, and he's putting it in his pool to clean it effectively, because metals like that do kill bacteria. And he's using a copper silver ion generator. I haven't looked into that yet, but it looks interesting. Much superior to chlorine. Yeah, of course. That stuff used to be, before they panned for gold, that stuff used to be in the rivers, and the water would flow right over the gold and other precious minerals. Silver. Boomers are still a strong influence, and he's saying that the body touch and all that sexiness is more geared towards the youth, but he's saying that the baby boomers have so much power they could influence that idea toward and lean it towards older people being more sexy. What does it mean? And I was not clear on that idea. The thing that upsets people is not what happens, but what they think it means. Okay, so how you interpret issues can give you the value, how you interpret it. Some people may not think that something's as big of an issue as other people. Aging increases loss of friends, family, health, independence, body function, body parts. So that's what's coming. You gotta embrace your age by giving up old things old habits in that you used to have in your younger years, and embrace newer challenges. You know, you're not going to be running as much as you used to, or jogging. So it's a good book, and yeah, it's a quick read.